Hey, folks, this is right. That's right. Here I am, folks, sitting in the Jerry's Palatial Estate, the AT&T Stadium, and the Houston Texans just gave a game away that they should not have. And I'm just going to lay it straight out. I see why they have a cooling off period, even though I tweeted it out. Uh, yeah, but the fact of the matter, and I'm glad I did have a cooling off period, but the tweet is already out there because I thought heads should roll after this game. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. Heads should roll. But before we get down to the details of it, Elvin just fell off the picture, but that's okay. We're gonna bring him back. Let's hear from our sponsor, Mr. Ross, and then we'll get back to the meat of this thing.
Hello, I'm Ken Ross with the Ken Ross Insurance Agency. There are certain things that are important in our lives: our health, our safety, and our loved ones. With over 40 years of experience, I've seen just how important insurance can be. I value the importance of being a part of my community and being there when they need me. Insurance is important everywhere, but being here in South Texas, it is absolutely essential. From flood, home, auto, and life insurance, let the Ken Ross Agency be your agency of choice.
Yep, that's right, folks. The Ken Ross Agency, 281-235-5952. And as I bring, here we go. Come on, yeah, we got good side by side today. You and I we're gonna share equal screen today, yo. Final score 27-23. Yeah, I mean, what else can you say about this one? This is a game that at the 5:45 mark, the Texans supposed to put it away, and they didn't. And I know you went over there to see the Cowboys, and I know you spent a lot of time with them. But your initial comments on the game that the Texans should have won.
Well, I think what confused the Cowboys, two things: the rotation of quarterbacks with Davis, Mills, and Driscoll, and they weren't expecting to see that. Obviously, the Texans hadn't done it all year long. Mike McCarthy said he thought the defense adjusted well to it, but obviously they did throw some things out that they weren't expecting from the video they'd seen. And Dak Prescott said that just the defense of the Cowboys, he felt like adjusted well, even though they were seeing things they hadn't seen before, and hung in there and kept it close enough. And of course, like everybody knows, he said the biggest thing was the defense in that goal line stand when they shut the Texans down on that fourth down and got the ball back at the 2-yard line.
Yeah, the game. Here's the thing about it. Everybody after watching Dallas play last week against the Indianapolis Colts, and they just bombed them here, and we all had already just speculated that okay, this is going to be a nice little scrimmage for the Cowboys. And in fact, if you follow the first play, the first series down from Dallas from scrimmage, they went down. They basically crammed the ball down the Texans' throat. They threw the ball. The first 5 plays were passes, then a couple of runs, and they just went straight down the field and just imposed their will on the Texans. And we thought, okay, here we go. Because I looked down the press box at you, and we just sort of looked at each other like, okay, I guess it's going to be one of these days. But lo and behold, the Texans got off the mat. The defense got off the mat, and really with everything, 2 pass interceptions, a goal line stand. I think you're supposed to win a game like that. I mean, somewhere in my recess, I think you're supposed to win a game like that. But before we get a little bit further, let's go ahead and let's let love it, because I'm gonna tell you something. The Texans, as a player organization, they cleared out their dressing room quick. After they literally, guys that you thought would have been in there, they already cleared out. They didn't waste. They didn't. Because they left it on the field. The defensive players I wanted to talk to, they had left it on the field. There was nothing left to say, and they said whatever they said. My play spoke for itself. But anyway, let's listen and let Lovey talk to us about it, and we'll move on. Okay.
But where we are with our program, we want to win. We want to get better, and the guys are getting better. The effort today, I thought the guys just played hard from start to finish. You know, offensively, we haven't been able to do an awful lot lately, but I thought Bird's offensive line did a good job. That defense we played, I think leading the league in sacks, and I think we gave up one. Damon Pierce ran hard. And our receivers, you know, we were down on our top 2 receivers today, but Chris Moore really stepped up. Amari Rogers really stepped up. So you like what those guys were able to do. And quarterback-wise, you know, we made a change. We looked for a spark. I thought Davis did some good things, passing the football, made some good throws today, and made good decisions today, just like the things he did. And the combination with Jeff Driscoll, you know, early in the week we thought that we could, you know, we decided to, you know, to go with this plan, to use Jeff. And I thought he did some good things too. Realized at the end we had an opportunity, you know, 1st and goal inside the 5, needed to catch that in for a touchdown. And defensively, whenever you can take the ball away, that's a big thing. Also down a couple, you know, Steve Nelson went down a couple of our, you know, starting cornerbacks, but Trayvon Smith, outstanding job. Des King has done an outstanding job. These guys just keep next man up mentality, and they played well. Lee Collins, Galen Petrie, you know, we gave ourselves a chance. And we continue to do things like that. And special teams, you know, that fumble recovery by Blake Cashman, hitting field goals. A lot of positive things, you know, for us to build on. We understand it's late in the year on building on something, but where we are, that is a big thing. We had a few injuries, a few guys that went out of the game early but came back in, like Kenyon Green, but they're late. Damon Pierce with that ankle injury couldn't go anymore. So that hurt us a little bit, and I mentioned Steve Nelson earlier. Take your question.
So that's pretty much it in a nutshell, Elwin. I mean, from the Texan standpoint, I know you went over to the Cowboys. You want to just give because I did hear your questions that you had to Dak, but give us a quick thumbnail because let's face it, they know they got by the skin of their teeth today.
Yeah, that's true. And you know, I'll say this. As you know, I've covered the Cowboys for many, many, many decades. The Cowboys have always, and this is not meant to be a slam on the Texans, but the Cowboys have always played down to the level of their competition. And the question was pitched out to both Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott in their post-game press conferences. You warned Coach the team not to eat the cheese. Do you think your team ate the cheese? And he said, you know, to a certain degree, yes. Dak basically said the same thing. But McCarthy also said the Texans, and I would agree with him, played the best game they played all season long. They knew this was basically their Super Bowl. If they get the upset win, then they've got a little bit of something they can build on for the final 4 games of the season. But even though they didn't get the win, they came so close, I think they've still got something they can build on for these final 4 games to say, hey, you know, we took coming in a 9-3 team, tooth and toenail, and we had the game in hand and won until 41 seconds left in the game. So I think they've got to take a lot of pride in that. And quite frankly, yeah, the Cowboys know they were very fortunate to slide out of that game with a victory. But I asked Dak Prescott in his post-game press conference, I said, Dak, it just appeared after the defense held on that 4th down and you get the ball back on the 2-yard line, like the entire offensive unit had no doubt about it, you guys were going down to win the game. And he said, that's what I told the team when we came out on the line, at the line of scrimmage for that first play. Let's just take it one play at a time. We're going to win this game. And he said, before they snapped the ball on that first play when they were in the huddle, Zach Martin said, "We got this, Dak. We're going to do it." And I think it was just a matter of determination. But you see a team with that much talent, and you wonder, why do they take that long to flip the switch?
Well, yeah, without a doubt. I think what happened, Elwin. I think after that first drive, I think they assumed that it was going to be easier than what it was.
Yeah, yeah. And then, of course, that turnover by Turpin when he fumbled the punt and gave them the easy 7 points to tie the game. I thought really that was the turning point of the game. If Turpin handles that punt correctly, Houston may never have been in the game. But it's all about turnovers, and everybody knows Lovie Smith preaches turnovers, tip ball interceptions, ripping the ball out. And again, I think even though they won the Jacksonville game and tied the game against the Colts in Houston, I really felt like this was by far the best game the Texans have played all year long. Now, what it did pose to me is, why did maybe they not try the two quarterback rotation before now at this point? I know John Madden always said if you have two quarterbacks, you don't have a quarterback, but Houston looked like a real football team for the first time in several games today with that quarterback rotation. And my guess is Lovey Smith will stick with that the final 4 games, and I think he should.
Well, all right. Let me take the contra on that. Let me take the contra on that. It probably works for Georgia. It probably works for Alabama. It probably works for University of Florida. But in the NFL, I think this is sort of like a one and done, because now the tape is out, and I
Yep,
guarantee you
that's
the
true.
tape is out. The NFL, it's no more surprise. I did see them. They went back to that little gimmicky crap they tried in Las Vegas when he split the lineman out and then brought them back in. And my whole forte, if you're gonna put that many people in motion, why don't you start putting backs in motion? Why don't you start putting receivers in motion? Why don't you start, instead of putting your two tackles, running them way out there and then bringing them back in? I'm just, because the Texans don't do a lot of motion. They just don't. I mean, but the fact that you splitting the line, I'm sitting and I sit there, and when I looked at it, I just sort of drop my head and go like, okay, here this little Mickey Mouse stuff again. And instead of and they'll run a receiver in motion, but he'll come and get set. The question becomes keeping motion and running motion, because it creates confusion at the snap of the ball. And to me, I think they are still missing the with my thought. They are still missing the point. And at this point, what the hell do you have to lose right now? I mean, to me, part of the thing they had against the Cowboys, they were playing with house money today, and they played with house money, and it wasn't their money. They was playing with house money, because you're right. This would have been their Super Bowl. Hey, and this would have been everything. Rah rah rah. Only thing would have been missing was a parade like the Astros had for winning the World Series. That was the only thing missing. Yeah. But guess what? They didn't get squat, and for that simple reason, they still are what 1-11-1 now. I mean, it's
Yep,
getting it's it's getting to be a old cliche, and I did not bite my tongue, and I'm still of the opinion. I think that fourth down, I mean that first and goal inside the 5 yard line, and you come away with nothing when you could have put the game on ice. And I still think he has got the role. I'm just at this point, and I know you're gonna say, well, what good is it gonna do now? And you're probably right, nothing, because they were mathematically eliminated last week, and now they're still hanging around. And they can mess up somebody else's season, but okay, that's you still they still got to play the rest of the season now. They still get paid, and
yep,
so and you're right. I this is by far. This is by far the best game they had, and it's in a team on the rope, and you're supposed to knock them out. And that this is the adage they always say: They need to learn how to finish. Well, you know what? Here was a chance inside the 5 yard line, first and inside, and you didn't even come close. I mean, and I question why Rex Burkhead was in there. I know that Pierce was hurt, injured, but they had a couple other backs that probably could have been on the swing passes. Some, but nobody's scared of Rex Burkhead anymore. Nice guy, everything, but that tipped off every play they could have run without Pierce in there, because nobody's gonna be afraid of what Rex Burkhead can do. They can't. Nobody's afraid of it.
No,
That's just it.
I agree with you on that, AD. But I'm going to tell you what, to expound a little bit more, that was a very unorthodox scenario of moving those linemen around like they did, and really running with the two quarterbacks instead of just one. But again, I think it did catch Dallas off guard, and it worked for them. I do agree with you. The tape's out there now. It very well may not work again. And, of course, I think the bigger thing here, it did give the Texans impetus to say, hey, we hung in with what is now a 10-win team, one of only 3 teams in the league to be in double-digit wins this season. But the question is, with all of the adversity they faced, all of the injuries, all of the games that they could have, should have won that they didn't win, it's going to be really interesting now to see, can these guys suck it up after that just disheartening loss that they went through in a game, like you said, they should have won. Can they suck it up and be competitive against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs next Sunday? Or are they just going to fold up shop and get blown out? And that's what concerns me for them next week. You're not, frankly, you're facing, I don't care that the Cowboys' record is better than the Chiefs. You're facing, in my opinion, a much better team than the Cowboys when you have to line up against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs next Sunday.
Oh, without a doubt. Even with them not having the cheetah, to me, they are much more dangerous offensively because they got more people involved. Besides Travis Kelce, they got a lot more. They have weapons out there. They got weapons out there that haven't even been classified yet. So to me, it's scary. It's scary because I'm sitting up here now watching. They got the Chiefs have a comfortable lead on the Denver Broncos or at Mile High Stadium right now, and I'm sitting up here watching it on the monitor right now, and they've been, and then Patrick Mahomes pulled one of his typical Patrick Mahomes plays and flipped one for a touchdown. The typical the kind of just dishearten you and breaks your spirit, and seeing how hard the Texans played today on the defense, and to see if Mahomes pull one of them off, I'm not gonna say the guy's gonna quit. I hate to say that, but it might get to a point that they just finally got to say,
Right.
Anyway, let's hear from Mr. Ross real quick, then we'll get back, Elwin, and I know you on the road, and then I'm going to jump out there and jump on the road and head back to H-Town myself. But hold on real quick.
Hello, I'm Ken Ross with the Ken Ross Insurance Agency. There are certain things that are important in our lives: our health, our safety, and our loved ones. With over 40 years of experience, I've seen just how important insurance can be. I value the importance of being a part of my community and being there when they need me. Insurance is important everywhere, but being here in South Texas, it is absolutely essential. From flood, home, auto, and life insurance, let the Ken Ross Agency be your agency of choice.
Yep, that's right, folks. The Ken Ross Agency, 281-235-5952. If you, for all your insurance needs, give him a call. And he doesn't necessarily be in Texas. He can be anywhere because I know we got folks that listen to us all across the country. So, don't if he can't handle your needs, I'm sure he will pass it on to somebody else. Elwin, before we do this, let me pass my condolences on to Stephen Silas. Paul Silas passed away, and
Right.
which is Stephen Silas's. And so let me just extend my condolences to the Silas family. I mean, for those of us who got a chance to see Paul Silas play, and we old enough to say we are, and know we are, we both got a chance. A quiet man with a mighty demeanor, was a force on the court, and he was a force off the course, but he wasn't bombastic. He was not one of the bombastic coach of that nature, but. So we extend our sincere condolences to the Silas family on the passing of Paul Silas. So, I just want to make sure we got that in before we get away.
You bet.
Um, so let's go ahead and let's put a bow on this. Dallas know they got away with one, and let's face it. I mean, good teams are supposed to win games that they not so. A good team will, and
Yep.
eventually the Texans will be one of those teams that they'll we'll look back at this sort of like we look at the Astros right now, because all I got to do is think back to the Astros when they had those couple of seasons when they lost over 100 games, and then all of a sudden here we are now. We done been in the playoffs for the last 5 years, two World Series, and since 2017. So I think we have to look at it: is the glass half empty or half filled? Right now we got more holes in this glass than a little bit, but
Yeah.
so what are you looking at with the Chiefs coming in next week?
Well, again, the talent they have. Patrick Mahomes, we know. Brady's the GOAT. Nobody can argue that. But Patrick Mahomes is catching up very quickly. Now, their defense has been suspect a couple of times this season. Their offense has been suspect a couple of times this season. But I just think the Chiefs, they're in that overdrive that they get into every year in December. You remember they were in a mess at the beginning of the year last year, and they came back and made it to the AFC Championship game. So I just think at this time every year, Andy Reid, he's basically the dean of the NFL coaches right now, along with, of course, that guy up in New England, Belichick. But I think they know how to kick it into another level, and Andy Reid manages to make sure his team is in a position to do that every year when December comes. And I don't think this year is going to be any differently.
Let me address Larry Etienne Sr. He just had a posted on our chat line. A bad organization from top to bottom. I'm right about now. I can't disagree with you because the
No,
fish rots from the head back, and that's where we are right now. Hey, buddy, like I said, I appreciate it. It was good to finally, because you know what, this morning with all the rain coming through Houston, it was a doubt that I gonna come through this rain. But once we got the water, everything like cleared up, and
yep.
so anyway, hey, safe travels home
You
to
too,
you.
buddy.
Yeah, and
And
hey,
thanks for having me again.
no, thank you, and like I say, look to see you next week, man. Be safe out there,
All right,
and
brother.
we'll catch up with you. Okay,
All righty.
take
Bye.
care. Bye bye.
You too. Bye bye.
All right, folks, that's it. We gonna, I'm as it stated. Hope everyone has a safe trip back to Gilmer. Um, Let me tip my hat to the North Shore Mustangs who are going to state again. They, to me, the team, the nemesis playing Austin Westlake
Yeah.
has been that bailiwick, and
Probably
so
7:30.
you know, so we'll just make sure that we wish the best to the North Shore Mustang as they go for their third or fourth. I mean, they starting to stack championships like you stack $100 bills. I don't mean for that, for them to get NIL, but anyway, as I get ready to wrap this, I want to get ready to get out and jump on the road and head back toward H Town. Again, the Texans had a winnable game, but dropped it with 40 some seconds left because they could not execute a first and goal from the 4 yard line, and it's devastating that they couldn't because the defense, in my humble opinion, done everything that it should, could, and possibly even after having the ball shoved down their throat on the first drive, and they came back and done what they needed to get done. And it's they mentioned it, yeah, they ran the two quarterback system today, and it might work. It worked today. No, it didn't work today because you didn't win, but it did gave Dallas some things that they hadn't had a chance to see. So we'll see how well they're gonna line up. Hey, for those of y'all up on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel, stay tuned. Chris and the guys will be there at 6 o'clock. For those of you on the ADMAX Corner YouTube, if you had not subscribed, subscribe, please. And we appreciate you, jumping in. This is a 1-11-1 team. It doesn't give you a whole lot to talk about, but you know what? It stretches me as an individual to how to just come back and try to find some little nuggets out the way. But right about now, those nuggets starting to turn to fool's gold. And so, without a doubt, if you have not, folks, as we get ready to wrap this puppy up, if you have not got your flu shots, your pneumonia shots, your COVID, the COVID, the new COVID-19 boosters, please, folks, get out there. With the weather changing like that, and it's cool up here in the Dallas Metroplex right now, do it. And weather's gonna be changing down in H-Town. So, folks, I would strongly suggest that you get out there, get your shots. And as I mentioned, Chris Gardner, Andy Yanez, and Willie Gibson. I don't know. I think Willie should be there today. I'm not sure. It looked like Cleveland lost today because they didn't have to play the Texans. So man, oh wait. They probably, a lot of teams would like to play the Texans right about now. But this is not the team that you need to sleep on. It will be one day a team of sorts. So as I get ready to wrap, without a doubt, this is your man, Adolphus A.D. Moore from AT&T Stadium, as I get ready to say good night, and let's call this a wrap. And be careful. Peace, ciao, and I'm out, people. I'm gone. Back to the